You know, we were just talking about legacy and about the legacy that our dads have left us, and hopefully the legacy that we're leaving for our children. My dad had me working in his drugstore when I was 9 years old. Didn't pay me much, but he taught me a lot of lessons. He taught me about the value of hard work. He taught me how to respect people. He taught me customer service and never used the word, but how you treat people is how you want to be treated. My dad also taught me out of my paycheck that giving to the Lord was of a first priority. So he taught me tithing, and he made sure that I did it. My dad, in just going about his business as a pharmacist in a very small drugstore, gave me valuable insights about the kind of work ethic that would impact my life as a pastor, and hopefully has been spilled over into the lives of my kids. Just like we were talking, you know, I know all of you guys, your dads have made significant impacts in your life. I mean, there are things etched like stone in your lives that your dads did. Alex, let's talk about your dad for a minute.
Well, you know, when I think of my dad, two things immediately come to mind. He was big on not giving up. He would reference Winston Churchill saying, never give up, never give up, never give up. A similar statement he said was the famous phrase, you can eat an elephant if you break him up into bite-sized pieces. So later in life, when we watched him build a Christian school that was very difficult to build, that came into play when we began this movie-making process. You know, how in the world does a church that's never done anything like this before make a film? And so, and we've learned as we've gone with the films that have been made, but it is a very difficult process. And you get to a point where you're thinking, this is bigger than all of us, this is bigger than we know how to handle. And those simple truths start coming back. When the dad models that type of attitude, I'm not going to give up on what the Lord has given me to do. It is going to be bigger than me, and that's why you need the Lord's help. And so we see that modeled, and so we apply that to our own lives. And then when God comes through, he gets the credit.
That's right. Yeah, and I do want to say, we had the privilege of ordaining you, and I watched your dad give a blessing to you, but that blessing was an incredibly tough challenge to be a man of God. I mean, he didn't pull any punches with you.
That's right.
Not at all.
That's right.
But, you know, I mean, I think every boy wants a dad that says, I believe you can be a great man. That's right. And I did, as a pastor, I saw your dad model that. Stephen?
He did that at our weddings. We asked him to do our weddings, and he blessed us, and it was overwhelming. We're crying. The audience is crying because it's rare that you see a father pull back the floodgates of his heart and just pour out love unconditionally on you. And it does something to you. It really sets you up for success in the future. That's what Jesus experienced. Alex and I experienced that with our dad. And so when I think about dad, I think about integrity, years of integrity. I tell people I didn't stumble upon him looking at pornography. I stumbled upon him on his knees in prayer, praying for our family. And I saw God answer amazing prayers in the life of my dad. And what it does for your faith as a young man to see that kind of faith in your father. And so it's caused us to not only want to commit to the Lord and serve the God that our father served, but also to leave a godly legacy for our kids as well.
Yeah. Jim?
I was just going to say, for a lot of young people, their father is their hero. And for me, my dad has always been my hero. He's still my hero. But I think as you get older, you realize that about that person, that they're not really a superhero. They're just an average kind of guy that just happens to wear a cape. And so for me, I wanted my children to know I was real, you know, and that their mom and I were available to have open communications, that they could share their heart with us, and we could biblically guide them into a direction that would help them live out their life to glorify God. And so I think communication is a big key. It has been in our family, is keeping those avenues open to where they feel comfortable talking to us about anything.
A big issue is that we don't just want our kids to come to know Christ or pray a prayer or something. We want them to have hearts that beat for God. Yeah. And one thing that we developed and saw it in our parents' lives were we love the Lord. You know, we fear the Lord. Of all the things our parents did for us, I think the greatest thing was that they taught us to fear the Lord and to love the Lord. And then God began to convict us of our rebellion and disobedience, like you were saying. It was because of our own direct relationship with the Lord that he's grown us, even beyond things that our parents taught us. And so we see that in Scripture, that parents are to love God with all their heart, mind, soul, strength, and they're to teach their children to do the same. And so I want my kids to be world changers for Christ. I want their hearts to beat for Christ long term, where they don't just exist as a Christian, but they are changing the world for his glory.
It's the little things that start to come back to you that you don't expect. I celebrated a birthday not long ago, one of those years that I just soon not think about. But, you know, my youngest daughter, Haley, who's, I think she's 25, she sent a Twitter out. She said, "Happy birthday to my dad." And she put it on there. And she said, "I know he's the dad you all wish you had." You know, I mean, she didn't have to do that. But what it said to me is, you know, maybe I did something right.